Should I upgrade to Windows 7? My name is Kevin Galvin, and this is the beginning of a new Tweak Geeks video series about upgrading your computer to Windows 7. Now, the title is very important because there's going to be a lot of information out there on why you generally should or should not upgrade to Windows 7. The marketing information is already stepping up things at a feverish rate, which is already confusing just about everybody. This set of videos is going beyond all that. You're going to learn how to find specific information about your particular computer or your particular circumstances, which is going to help you make an intelligent decision about what to do. Now remember that. You want to be able to make intelligent decisions. Upgrading the computer is really only part of the process. You also have to be able to make decisions about hardware and software. And then sometimes there's other things that we also have to talk about. And sometimes those things that we have to talk about you don't want to hear about. There are times when it's difficult to tell certain things to certain people. I run into this quite often. It may be a situation where I'm telling a business that the computers are just not good enough to make the upgrade. Or I may be telling them that their network is simply just another integration of the old 80s technology, and if they upgrade whatever, they got to get with it. Or something like the applications that you're using that were designed 3 operating systems ago shouldn't be used for your critical applications. So we run into this once in a while. In dealing with that, there is going to be a big cyanide pill for a lot of people in some organizations. So here it comes. Now this is a very basic chart, and this chart is really way oversimplified. We look at a chart like this mainly just so that we can see trends. And the trend that we're looking for here is how many people are planning to upgrade to Windows 7. And the answer on that is it appears that within the next 3 years, roughly 50 to 60% of the people are planning to upgrade to Windows 7. Now this includes personal computers as well as corporations. This is pretty much a real general survey. It's not really accurate, but it does show us a trend. The trend of 50 to 60% of the people planning to upgrade, well, that alone is absolutely off the charts itself. Can you imagine if 50% of the car owners out there said, yep, I'm buying a new car within the next 3 years? Or 50% of the homeowners said, yep, I'm moving, we're buying a new house within the next 3 years? Well, I'll tell you, the economy would be going absolutely nuts. I don't think that we could replace all the 50 to 60% of the cars, or 50 to 60% of the people could move that quickly. So for the computer industry, this is a real big task if this trend holds true. Now again, this is what the trend is showing to be. It may not actually be that high, but I do expect it to be fairly accurate. In other words, the true figures might actually come in at around 40 to 50%, which is still astronomical. Now, here's the bad news. I like to make fun of charts sometimes, and this is one that kind of affects people because I like to explain to my students this chart has a secret code in it. And the secret code basically well, first of all, you have to be able to count to 100, and you have to be able to count to 100 in English. And let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whoops! Looks like the code also works in German. So basically what we're looking at here is we're looking at roughly, well, exactly 66 blocks. Of those 66 blocks, the green ones are the ones that we're interested in. We're not really interested in any of the blue ones. Now if you count the green ones are in-place upgrades. And you'll see that you can go from Windows Vista Home Basic to Windows 7 Home Premium. And you can go from Windows Vista Ultimate to Windows 7 Ultimate. And these are direct upgrades. Now the other green blocks over here on the right, these are really not direct in-place upgrades. These are the anytime upgrades. So if we use our secret code and we count the numbers, we have 2, 4, 6, 8 blocks out of 66 that we have a direct upgrade or an in-place upgrade to Windows 7 on. Now this is important because it really doesn't mean that most of the computers are going to be upgrading on a direct upgrade. It actually means the opposite. The number of blocks show us that actually less than 15% of the computers are going to have a direct upgrade path. This is what we call the upgrade path. In other words, how do I upgrade from this to this to this to this? And technically, less than 15% of the people are going to have a direct in-place upgrade. And that's where we come into the Windows 7 paradox. Now, a paradox is a proposition that contradicts itself. Now, the contradiction here is basically this. When people upgrade, they upgrade because they want to keep all their applications and all their data. But according to this chart, it looks like they're not going to be able to.
So basically, you can forget about any in-place upgrades for Windows XP. Kaboom. That's not good. That's the first part. Then, you can also forget about any in-place upgrades for any operating systems prior to Windows XP. You have to pay for the full license. And then, a lot of the Vista upgrades, except for the matching Windows 7 versions, you really don't have a direct upgrade if you want to go to a nicer version. You have to do the anytime upgrade. Thirdly, the Windows 7 in-place upgrades will be overcomplicated with or without Microsoft Office, mainly because you have to meet SOX and other legal requirements.
This is the point where all the Mac users start laughing hysterically, and all the network administrators run off to hide from their little cubicles behind locked steel doors. I wouldn't be surprised if you heard a national news flash that all the patients have escaped the asylum and they're all running the marketing department down at Microsoft. Now, just to add to all the fun and games, Apple has strategically released their new operating system. Now, naturally, Apple has to contradict everything Windows does. Their new operating system moves all the incompatible software into its own folder. Therefore, it installs flawlessly without a single hitch. It's also very inexpensive. And guess what else? It even has an email client with a setup assistant. Basically, they set up your POP and your SMTP addresses for you. Well, that's pretty nifty. You know, just to clear the air here, I like them both. I have a Mac, so I confess, that there are certain things I like to do on a Mac, and there's certain things, there's a lot of things, I lean towards the PC. I usually pick the computer I dislike the least when I start to do something. Now, in the computer industry, that's kind of like being a certified schizophrenic, with dual personalities. You have the artsy-craftsy personality on one side, and you have the data and database personality on the other side. I'm also into Linux and a few other things, so multiple personalities. So, I have to say that I'm a Mac or I'm a PC. No, I'm a PC. No, I'm a Mac. No, I'm a PC. And when I look at this picture, don't leopards have black, round, and triangular spots?
I think what we have here is Linux. I mean Lynx. I mean Linux. No, I mean Lynx. I mean, what is it? It's a Linux. No, it's Lynx. I know. They photoshopped the penguins. How they did that. That must be it.